sure.
Awesome.
Right, hang on. What are we discussing again?
And I will not forget to actually start the show this week after the music, like I did last week. Just
That's
sat there.
I did listen to last week, but I've had such a week where I've been so tired that I don't think it really went in at points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about it at the start of the show anyway.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready? Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 202, recorded on October 25th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we're talking about Sega getting close to releasing Dreamcast games, Smash leaks, and some Pokemon Go updates, and so much more. So, Jesse, cue that sweet, 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 sweet music.
Ah, yes, folks, that's right. That sweet, sweet sound in your ear holes is indeed the Nintendo Dads podcast. Welcome to episode 202. My name is Marty Estes, and I am here tonight with two of the internet's finest offerings of gentlemen. If you were picking them as a la mail order bride, these would be top tier, top class, high dollar gentlemen. Joining us from across the pond tonight, you've already heard his voice, Mr. Gary Gray. Man, how in the heck are you?
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's a one-man Euroboy show tonight. I'm good.
Yep.
I've started school about 3 weeks ago, Open University, and I am tired. I was on episode 200, and looking back at it now, I was falling asleep. And yeah, it's been pretty rough. I obviously knew it was going to be quite intense on time, but it's been way more intense than I thought it would be. So I'm here today, I'm awake, I'm alive and well, and yeah, everything's awesome.
Yeah, like most of adulthood, it's more intense than you want it to be, and it takes you farther than you wanted to go. Speaking of taking us farther than we wanted to go, from VGTribune.com, we welcome Mr. Jesse Waldack. How you doing, Jesse?
Good. I was going to lead with something, and I completely forgot what I was going to say. So this is going to be one of those nights, isn't it?
It's okay. We're all there. I was telling them before the show started, it's been a week for me, of early mornings every day this week. And so, guys, bear with us tonight.
Yeah. We've had a lot of late nights at our work because we're getting close to our systems freeze. So during peak season, we have a stable system, so no changes. And
yeah,
this is the last week to do changes. And we did our final release last week, and then one emergency release to fix the problem last night, and then another emergency release will happen tonight to fix another problem that came up. So,
oh boy,
can't wait.
That sounds fun.
Can't wait till it's all over. So you heard about the crunch in video game development. It's not any different in business development either.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin is away this week on holiday, and so it's just the three of us keeping you warm here as we get ready to break down the news. So why don't we just get straight into that news, shall we?
Yes.
Let's try that one again, because I didn't fix my levels. That's better.
That's okay. The news is brought to us as usual by us over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Actually, it's brought to us by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show and get all kinds of cool stuff and help make Nintendo Dad's Magic possible. Speaking of Nintendo Dad's Magic, I'm so excited that we get to talk about this. Gary posted something earlier this week on our Patreon page, and if you haven't seen it yet, oh boy, you should get excited. Gary, tell the people what is coming back.
So, we're bringing back the Retro Show, formerly known as Retro Rewind, although we might be having a name change soon, but yeah, we're kicking it off from where it left off last time, so it's Super Castlevania 4 will be the first game still. We're treating it as a bit of a pilot, so if you guys have any tips, tricks, memories, nostalgia, videos, artwork, anything that it might be Super Castlevania 4 related, then send it over to us and we'll be sure to feature it in the show.
Absolutely. Like if you have a display of Castlevania memorabilia or posters or T-shirts or anything like that, we would love to talk about that. And we're going to, of course, break down the greatest Castlevania game ever made, which is Super Castlevania 4. And I'm looking forward to when Gary and I can actually sit down and record that and be a part of that. And that's going to be coming out. Retro Rewind usually before has been part of the Nintendo Dads feed. It is no longer going to be that. It's going to get its own feed so that you can find it more easily, but it's also going to release to patrons first because patrons, you make that show possible. So there'll be about a week or 2 week gap, and then it'll be available for everyone else. And can I say this, just diverging from that talk, but still talking about patrons? Last week on the show, we talked about having patrons from every continent and being a truly global podcast. We have seen a response this week, which has it's amused me. It's made me laugh. We have found out we have patrons in North America, South America, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, and joining them tonight over on our Facebook page. I'm going to pull this up, and I'm vamping for a little bit because my phone just decided to, go haywire.
Of course it did, because it's live, and
right,
is a live show without technical difficulties. It never
happens. We had a guy write in, and I'm getting his name right here, and I'm going to butcher this name, but that's okay. We didn't know about Africa, but Berend Venter wrote in from South Africa, and he says this. It's one of my favorite comments about the show ever. Thanks for forcing the podcast on me every week. It's one of the highlights of my week. And Baron, we say, man, thank you. We've heard of people in Argentina listening to this.
We don't hold a gun to your head for you to push the play button. You do that on your own.
That's right. Yeah. We're the friendly podcast that doesn't shake you down for money like the mafia. But anyway, so here's the deal. I'm going to throw this out here, and I didn't talk to anybody about this ahead of time, but I'm just going to say it. The first person to listen to this show and prove that you were in Antarctica when you listened to the Nintendo Dads podcast, I'm going to buy you a game. I'm throwing it out here because I want it. I want that on the map. Okay, mark it down. Today, episode 202. It can be any episode. You can go down there and play Nintendo Dads episode 1. I don't care. You can play episode 300 when we get there. The first person to listen to this show and play it while in Antarctica with proof. There has to be proof. You can't just go out into Canada where it's snowy all the time and, claim that that's in Antarctica. No, I need geotags and all kinds of stuff. I'm buying you a free game. It won't be free for me, but it'll be free for you. Okay? All right. There we go.
Sounds good.
All right. So as it stands right now, I probably owe Justin a game for Labo integration in Yoshi's Crafted World, and I probably, I'm going to owe whoever. I'm digging deep here, but there you go. Guys, let's dig deep and let's get into the news. And before we get into our huge topic this week that we need to talk about, we got a voicemail about this topic. And so, Jesse, if you've got that queued up, why don't we segue into this huge news with this voicemail?
Hey, Dads. Warren G. Akers here, calling, I think today's the 25th of October. I don't know if you're going to get this in time for tonight's show, but I was wondering if you guys saw the leak I just happened to catch last night about a Snapchat user who works for, I guess, a printing company somewhere. But anyway, they had some marketing material for Smash that looked like it revealed some final characters along with some possible other leaks. Anyway, I didn't know if you guys had caught that. If you've already talked about it on tonight's show, then just ignore this completely. You guys are great. Thanks.
Yeah, you sent it at the perfect time for us to include it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have not We have not talked about that yet, but we are about to right now. What Warren is referring to, and Warren's a good friend of the show, a patron. We're thankful for him. He's actually, by the way, I'm going to do this because I think that people need to hear this. He actually recorded Jesse's favorite moment from Final Fantasy VI, as with his guitar and sang along, and did that back when we originally talked about the game. Do you remember that, Jesse? He did the opera. It's up on YouTube. We'll try to drop a link tomorrow in a tweet or something. You need to see that. By the way, it's really cool. I think it's just promoting fan interaction. It's really cool. You need to go listen to it. But anyway, what Warren's referring to is that earlier this week, news broke on the internet. Huge news, so huge in fact that IGN, Kotaku, and Nintendo Life all covered this leak as if it were pretty legitimate. That the full roster for Smash Brothers Ultimate was supposedly revealed. And I say supposedly because let me go ahead and burst the bubble here. This leak has now been proved false. All right? So for those of you who had your casual fighting game panties in a wad because of this, you can go ahead and pull them out there and get ready for the rest of the the hype train to roll on. Nintendo also, by the way, in the midst of this, I got to say this, Nintendo in the midst of all this leak storm or this news surrounding it, trolled perfectly the entire Smash community by releasing a new commercial for Smash to YouTube right in the middle of this. It was like, play Smash Brothers Ultimate, available on 12/7. And this was also accompanied, by the way, by rumors of a possible direct coming this week or next as well, which we may still see. But let's get to the actual meat of this leak. Corresponding with what we had already seen leaked a few weeks ago, the image of Ken Masters, who is supposedly Ryu's Echo Fighter in Smash. A list of new characters was slightly Echo characters was revealed. And here's what we saw. And so think about this. Remember the big Smash banner, right? That has everybody in it that they added K. Rool to. They added Simon Belmont to, when they revealed those. 4chan and others picked up on this blurry image that Warren was referring to of a printing company which showed off some new characters in this image. Those characters were Shadow the Hedgehog, Banjo-Kazooie, Isaac from Golden Sun, Ken Masters from Street Fighter, Mach Rider, Geno from Super Mario RPG, and last but definitely not least, the Chorus Kids from Rhythm Heaven. Now, I'm just going to let you guys kind of take a minute here. Jesse, I know you probably don't have much to say about this because you're not a huge Smash fan. But what do you guys think about this? Just hearing this right now, because Gary said he's going into this blind. He'd heard there was a leak, but hadn't really heard. Gary, your thoughts on this before we talk about it some more.
Yeah, I just don't believe the roster. I really don't. I think as much as we all want it, I don't think Banjo's going to end up being in the final lineup. Ken is the most believable of those, and also Shadow as an Echo Fighter. I just don't really believe the rest of them, to be honest. Also, credibility for Elite coming out of Snapchat, not very high in my books.
Yeah, I agree with him that the some of those characters were just ridiculous. I wouldn't one of the last things I would have thought of as a Smash character.
Yeah, this list to me just is kind of like the Smash Ballot wet dream, right? Besides Goku. These are like, if you look at it, it's suspiciously every character that multiple people have been crowing for on the internet besides Waluigi.
And Shrek.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't count.
mark my words. Mark my words. The day Goku or Shrek is in Smash Brothers is the day that I'll never buy another one. I don't care who's in it. They could call it Super Waluigi Brothers Ultimate Brawl, and every character have Waluigi's face, and I would not buy it.
Yeah,
Forget
Goku's
it.
already in a fighting game. If you want it, go buy it.
No. There's so many arguments against Goku, and I'm.
See, I actually, I don't think Goku belongs in there, but I wouldn't be angry or upset if he was. I quite like him as a character. He fits into fighting genre really well. I don't think he belongs in Smash. But I wouldn't be
Smash
angry
is a
if he was
celebration of video gaming.
Well,
and here's the deal: almost every character in Smash was a video game character first,
yeah.
and that's why I think Goku doesn't belong. You have a character who was
Especially
animated,
Shrek.
who was in a cartoon. You have Shrek, who was in a movie, and putting Shrek and Goku in Smash would be like the equivalent of someone running a contest and Bodie McBoatface winning the name to be named the boat, and then them actually doing it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Michael in the chat says I wouldn't complain about Luffy, but that makes more sense in ARMS if you're going to go there.
It does make more sense in ARMS, and I think that would be a fun promotional crossover. Keep it out of Smash. Sorry, I don't know. I'm a little bit of an OCD about that, but so this Smash leak has been proven false. However, Sakurai has been very kind of catty or coy about confirming whether or not we're getting any more characters or not, and that Ken image is out there. It's done in the style of the Smash artwork. It's pretty, it's pretty much a smoking gun that Ken's in the game. The only question left to answer, I think, is when is all of this finally going to be revealed, or are they going to reveal it at all and just wait until the game comes out? I would actually be okay with that. Like, I would be okay with the game shipping and there actually being some extra characters in there that nobody knew about.
The problem with that is that Nintendo does not have control over it then. Nintendo have been pretty smart with revealing characters because they have complete control on the hype levels, how they're mentioned and stuff. If they ship Smash with characters that we don't know about, I'd bet you bottom dollar that GameXplain will let you know before you know.
Oh, sure.
Or the media outlets like that.
And then the game comes out.
Yeah, that video will hit at 12:01.
Yeah, so Nintendo then will not have any control over the messaging or anything like that. It'll be ruined before you get the game, so they may as well just tell you, and I think it'll come soon.
As far as the rumor of another Direct, here's why I think we're going to get one, and I think it's going to be November to tide us over to Smash. There is that mystery mode on the menu that was blurred out in the last Direct, as well as other options, which it said would be revealed at a later date. So I think that's probably going to come and be a major focus in that it'll be I can see them doing like the buildup of the final Smash Direct before release, right?
Yeah, I'd probably guess second week November. That gives about 3 or 4 weeks before launch.
Yeah. If Nintendo really just wanted to troll everybody, they'd drop it on Black Friday.
Oh.
The game or the announcement?
No, the announcement. Speaking of the game dropping, though, let me mention this: a real copy or a real boxed version of the Smash Switch somehow made it into somebody's hands, and it sold on eBay this week for over $1,000.
Why do that?
It's over. I don't know. Also, the website Nintendo Soup was in our Discord earlier today. Nintendo Soup is selling the Pokemon and Smash Joy-Cons separate from the docks, but they're also selling those on their website. You can get a set of the Pokemon Joy-Cons or the Smash Joy-Cons for a cool $100. And you can also get the theme docks as well without having to buy the Switch.
I'm unsure about the credibility of the Smash bundle being real as well. I think that would kind of be a big blunder for that to be out, and I'm fairly sure that stores wouldn't have that stock at the moment either. So I'm a bit unsure about that.
Well,
I mean, it could always anybody can make a fake, is what I'm trying to say.
Print up a box or whatever. Yeah. Well, and that's a great point.
Also, if those brown Joy-Cons are released as a set, that might actually be my first purchase of another set of Joy-Cons.
Yeah. Well, what I think is going on here is that website is buying those bundles, and they're taking the Joy-Cons and taking the dock and selling them separate and hoping to make their money back.
Yeah. And
then taking the actual, tablet part of it and either trading it off or whatever, which, is going to be kind of hard if it's the Pokemon branded tablet. Although there may be people who want that just without the Joy-Cons. It's just kind of strange. So I think that's all we can talk about the Smash Direct. It's not, or the Smash Leak. It's not real. It's fake. I wouldn't mind a couple of those characters. Like, I think Chorus Kids would actually be a hilarious introduction into the series. But the others, like Geno's, it's okay. I don't know. I think at this point, Nintendo needed to have done something else with Geno by this point. I don't know. At this point, I would rather have Wart in than Geno, but that's just me. And then we're never getting Wart. Sorry, it's not happening because he doesn't exist, apparently, according to Nintendo. He's a dream. Speaking of dreams, Sega says they are getting close to releasing Dreamcast games on the Switch, and mentioned that they have two options, which they are considering. The first would be just full-on emulation of the old Dreamcast games. The other would be enhanced versions that I guess would be, have a brand new dev team in on, and they would kind of be like remastered versions of those games. Did any of you have a Dreamcast?
I had a Japanese import Dreamcast about a year before it released in England.
Oh, wow.
Which my little brother played to the point where it just packed in, and then we had to wait for the English one to release after that. I was a big Dreamcast fan. In fact, when I brought my GameCube, the first games I brought were two Dreamcast games, which was Sonic Adventure 2 and Crazy Taxi. And I absolutely love the Dreamcast. I think it had some of the games that deserve way more limelight than they got. So if this is true and it comes out, the games I'd like to see would be Toy Commander, the obvious Crazy Taxi, and Power Stone, which is a Capcom fighting game.
Thank you. God, I love Power Stone.
It's great. It's a really great
game. What an awesome game. Jesse, did you have a Dreamcast?
I never did. I had friends who did, and I think I did play it once at their house. This was still early 2000s, so I was still I never was a fan of Sega. I've been a Nintendo kid all my life, so Dreamcast just never was on my radar.
I remember being in college and going to Toys R Us to pick up my Dreamcast there in the town my college was in. They had no VMUs. They had no extra controllers. And they had a very limited selection of games, which did not include Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic Adventure. So I ended up with Soul Calibur, and which I knew nothing about, ironically. I ended up with Soul Calibur and a game called, I believe it's Blue Thunder, which is kind of a third-person shooting game about aliens. It was okay. And then I also ended up with Power Stone, which was just brilliant. I don't understand why that concept has not been revisited, or that franchise has not been revisited, because so many people rave about Power Stone. and how good it is, and how much like it was. It kind of took the concept of Smash to another level, I thought.
Yeah, it was like isometric Smash, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, isometric Smash, where the object was to defeat your opponent, and you had very limited set of moves. Kind of 2-button controls, but at certain points in the match, you could break parts of the map and knock out items and different things. You could use weapons. But there was also a power stone you could find that would show up that would power your character up into like a different form, and you could unleash like basically game breaking attacks with it. So a lot of the matches were a fight to keep each other away from the power stone and try to get it. So I don't know. I've always thought it's fantastic. Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast was incredible. And I remember falling in love with that game. Speaking of, I wish Soul Calibur 6 was on the Switch.
Yeah.
Nintendo and Namco, get on that. Come on. Remember playing Soul Calibur 2, by the way, on my GameCube. Because you remember they had the console-specific characters?
Yep. We that's the only reason why we bought Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube.
Yeah. Link. It was amazing. It was fantastic. But yeah, like I remember the Dreamcast fondly, and I'm one of those people that I don't think that Sonic Adventure was all that bad. In fact, I think it was a breath of fresh air for that series, and I would love to see some of these games make their way to the Switch. Like that's exciting news. And of course, there's some obvious ones that people are going to ask, and I'm going to butcher the name of this because I never played it, but Shenmue, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's going to be the obvious one that everybody wants.
That came up in chat.
Yeah, Shenmue is probably going to be one. I doubt. Like, I would be okay with some of those older Soul Calibur games that came out on the Dreamcast. Power Stone 2, those would be great. I can't. Gary, help me out here, man. I just remember the Dreamcast, like, eventually. There were games for it and everything, but I also remember it eventually just became like every college student's favorite console because they could crack it and put old NES games, Super Nintendo games on it.
And that happened very easily as well.
The only game I remember playing on it was Choo Choo Rocket.
Yeah, Choo Choo Rocket was one. Fantasy Star had a game on there as well.
Wasn't this the console that Ikaruga first came out on?
I'm not too sure. But there was a little game on it which I had, which I really liked and not a lot of people remember, called Speed Devils? Speed Demons? Speed Devils? I can't remember the name as well.
Yeah.
But basically it was Speed Devils. It was a racing game. Pretty generic racing game, pretty much. Except the levels had some disasters happen to them as you're going around. So say you completed a lap in the Hollywood Hills. The next lap, there would be a huge earthquake, and you'd be racing while this earthquake's happening and the road's splitting apart. Or there'd be a tornado come and start sucking the cars off the track. It was a really cool game.
Yeah, I do remember that game.
Yeah.
Like our Speed Devils. That was the name of it.
Speed Devils, yeah.
Yeah. Sega, I will say this for people knock Sega a lot about a lot of things, but Sega got the concept of arcade racing games. Like arcade style racing games. They really got the concept of that.
Yeah, they're arcade games in general because you had Super Monkey Ball on there as well. You had Virtual Fighter. There was a lot there.
Yeah. I just think that it went off half-cocked.
I just took a quick peek at Wikipedia, so, grain of salt here. This, originally was an arcade machine and then first ported to home consoles on Dreamcast. And then
Ikaruga?
Yeah. And then it eventually to GameCube, 360, PC,
yeah,
PS4, and
absolutely.
Switch.
We're talking about racing games in particular. Need for Speed V-Rally came out on this. Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racing came out. Speed Devils, Red Line Racer, Stunt GP, San Francisco Rush 2049, Metropolis Street Racer. There was a ton of racing games for
and
the Dreamcast.
not forgetting Sega Rally as well. Sega Rally was good.
You're right. Marvel versus Capcom 2 came out on the Dreamcast. I totally forgot about that. Of course, a huge one, like you mentioned, Fantasy Star Online was part of that. Samba de Amigo, Jet Set Radio. I think we would probably get crucified if we forgot that one in the lineup. Looking over some of these, these names, like I'm just kind of Googled Dreamcast games. I'd forgotten a lot of these games, just to be honest. And I think that probably these getting ported to the Switch, and if they're done right and they're the right price, okay, like mark me on that. If they're the right price, then I think that they'll be okay. I think they'll do. In fact, I don't think they'll do okay. I think they'll do extremely well. Because where else are you going to emulate Dreamcast games right now, right? On a console. Where else are you going to play them? You're not. So let's hope that rumor is true and Sega gets closer to that. Just a couple other quick news items. Let's move through these very quickly. Super Nintendo World construction has been announced to begin in California at Universal Studios. There's a picture. You can go throw that in your Google machine out there and check that out. It's basically just some pipes and dirt, and not the Mario kind of pipes. So go get excited about your pipes and dirt. And Super Nintendo World still has a long way to go, but it's good to know that construction has begun. And maybe one of these days we'll all of us Nintendo dads, that'll be like when it opens, we'll fly out there or something.
We'll probably be Nintendo granddads by the time we get there.
We'll get on our Nintendo hover rounds and go check it out.
At least I might be.
Yeah. Pokemon Go has been updated, and some huge news came out today about it Venture Mode. But Jesse, why don't you run down these? I mean, because you are the Pokemon Go man, and as you said earlier, you got cheated out of a raid today. And all kinds of other stuff. But why don't you break down all this news?
That wasn't a raid. That was just a regular wild spawn. But I'll talk about that later. So speaking of raids, the Mewtwo is no longer a raid target for they now have Giratina as the level 5. And then they announced Meltan's evolution, which is apparently the first mythical to have an evolution. His name is Melmetal, and based on concept art, he is huge.
Yeah, he looks kind of like looks like a melty Michelin man.
Yeah,
with big nuts and bolts for arms. Yeah,
I saw a piece of art that had a Melmetal surrounded by Meltan, and the Meltans like go up to their ankles. His ankle.
Yeah. There. Newsflash: there's a lot of people who hate this.
I'm not a fan either, but maybe when I actually see it in motion, it might change my mind.
I thought it was pretty cool.
But because
I actually thought the design for Meltan was pretty crappy. It's like it's a silver ditto with a nut on its head. Okay.
With
I'm completely Marty. Plus, it is a step up from rubbish or keys.
Or sword and shield. I've been one of the people who agree that since Gen 5, some of their models have gone downhill, and so I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of good ones coming out of 8. But I'm sure there'll be a few good ones, but a lot of them will be in the meh area. Okay, this started a few days ago, but there's a Halloween event going on. I think goes through November 1st. That'll spawn ghost and dark types. With it is a 3-part quest, which is kind of a pain in the butt, because part 1, you need to use 108 candies. Part 2 is you have to catch 108 Pokemon. I'm not sure what part 3 involves yet. I haven't gotten that far. The reward is a Spiritomb, which apparently contains 108 souls, thus the 108 thing. And I've said in my family group chat talking about the game something negative about Pokemon lore, but just because getting 108 Pokemon is kind of exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even think about that.
I think I'm up to 68, so I'll probably get it tomorrow. Okay. November 3rd will, you know how they have, normally once a month they do a community day where one random spawn or one Pokemon spawns more often than normal. They have a similar event but with raid targets. So starting at 2 o'clock Eastern, for almost every gym will spawn a Gengar that'll have a 3-hour timer. So last time I did one of these with our raiding group, we hit like 25 targets in 2 hours. It was utter chaos, but exciting and fun. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town, so I'll be missing this one. I think my kids are going to try to see if they can tag along with some of the other raiders so they can play. And then finally, what you mentioned, that I wrote, Go will finally do what it should have done from the start, to start tracking walking distances while the game is idle. That was what the adventure mode is. I'm like, that's about time.
This single-handedly will make me get back into this game.
Right. It'll be,
because I don't, like, from the very beginning, this game should have used my step count from the day.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
There's no reason it shouldn't.
I don't know if Android has something similar, but Apple had a health kit from before Go that would have easily been integrated in to take care of all that for them.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on real-time GPS coordinates.
Well, I mean, just like Nintendo discovered the internet about 3 years ago, they finally discovered HealthKit as well.
Well, still, this is Niantic, and they should know how...
Well, I'm just comparing it to slow adoption of Nintendo tech.
Anyway, so
I'll actually be able to hatch eggs I've had since the beginning week of the game now. Shows you how much I play Pokemon Go.
Right.
Yeah. So Pokemon Go is one of these games that, like, I think is probably one of the best mobile games. However, I can't play it because there's only one Pokestop in the area. So this is actually quite good news about the egg thing, because I mean it kind of gives me an option to at least kind of play the game.
Yes.
However, it's still not quite enough for me to be able to really
enjoy the same things everyone else has been enjoying for a long time.
Yeah, I only really get to play it whenever I go, like, somewhere in the UK traveling or on holiday. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a bit of a shame, really, that there's not many Pokemon stops by me, but it's the way it goes.
Yep, yeah, you're exactly right.
So the little story is while I was out tonight. Something I found out recently is if you are level 30 or more and you see a spawn, the stats for that Pokemon will be the same for every other level 30 or higher who sees it. If you're under level 30, then they'll be re-randomized for you. So the people in our raid group will, whenever they catch what we call 100% IV, so one that basically has the max stats, they'll say, hey, there's 100% so-and-so over here, and if we're in the area, we go get it, because we don't know there's like a 15-ish minute time limit before the despawn. So I had just finished telling my kids I have not seen a Drifloon with enough stats worthy for me to want to evolve it. And then it comes across the chat, 100% Drifloon over here. So we tried to get it, but by the time we got there, it was gone. Or we were in the wrong location. So we never found it.
Sad Jesse.
Yes. Very sad.
Sad Jesse. Speaking of sad Jesse, Intellivision has announced a new console called the Amico, planned to release in about 2 years on October 10th, 2020. Let's run this down. Just some news bites about this, or some tidbits about it. The price point of the console will be around $149 to $179. Oddly, every game will have a rating of at most E10. Every game will be a console exclusive, either an original system emulation, game remaster, or original content. All games will be priced between $2.99 and $7.99 with no in-app purchases. And the controllers are a modern take of the originals with an improved disc and side buttons, with a touchscreen replacing the original keypad with overlays, a microphone, and a speaker. And up to 8 mobile devices can be paired to the system to work as controllers as well. And surprisingly, a number of people from Nintendo are involved in this.
Not current Nintendo employees, but
right.
former Nintendo employees.
Former Nintendo employees.
Which led me to this question. Will the Wii U-like features, because that controller looks like a small gamepad, pose any legal problems?
To that I say no, because nobody's probably going to buy this anyway.
Yeah, all three of us who care, right?
Well, like I get that there's probably nostalgia for the Intellivision. It was before my time. I had a buddy who told me that he had one when he was younger. Of course, my first video game console of any kind was the NES, but I just don't see this taking off. Original system emulations, game remasters, and original content, and the highest price point is going to be $7.99 per game. I don't see there being revenue for developers. I don't see anyone to me. It just sounds like a bunch of shovelware and apps. I don't know. Convince me I'm wrong, Jesse.
Well, unfortunately, this is everything I know. They haven't really talked about it yet, other than put out a 3-minute video. So,
right.
I'm not sure if they're allowing third-party developers or if they're doing everything in-house. Because, back originally, the Intellivision only did in-house development, and it was only until Activision spun off of Atari to be the first third-party when then the third party started piling in their shovelware.
Yeah.
So, I'm interested in this just because Intellivision was my first console, so I have a lot of nostalgia. Yeah. Ryucat in the chat says Tommy Tallarico is backing it. In case you didn't know, he isn't just backing it, he is the CEO and president of what is now Intellivision Corporation. So, yeah, he has full backing on it.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned that in the previous show. So yeah, I am dubious. I'm not gung ho. The whole high hopes, low expectations thing. Just like the Atari VCS that we talked about before, which I've already bought and paid for. I'm just waiting for that thing to come released. I'll be getting these things just because I like collecting oddball consoles, and I'll play it a little bit, and I'll probably get sick of it after a while, wanting to go back to the Switch. But still, this is a fun thing to play with for me. It's the way I think.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. You are the console nostalgia master around here. Just being honest. Where I have no desire for that or the Atari VCS, that really gets your motor running, and more power to you. I'm sure some people feel that way about me and my rambling about the NES and the SNES.
So who would have thought in the year 2020 there would be Intellivision versus Atari wars going on?
Right, yeah. Hey, the more consoles, the merrier, right?
Well,
that's it for the news this week, guys. We're going to move into what Gary has been playing, and we'll explain that here in just a minute, right after this bumper. Usually that music means what we've been playing, but as we were talking before the show, we figured out that this week has been crap for me and Jesse as far as video game time.
Yeah, I already mentioned how busy I've been at work, and I was hoping to get some playtime in on 7 Billion Humans that came out today. Didn't happen, so I'll be talking about that next week. I do plan on putting a Let's Play of the first hour-ish or first 3 or 4 levels out there, so keep an eye for that.
So yeah, there's an ad in my face. I'm sure that makes for interesting podcasting. I'm waving my hand, and
okay. Your face has been frozen since before we started, so no one saw that.
Awesome, that's fantastic. We have the finest equipment here at Nintendo Dad's HQ.
Yeah, we really need to start looking into Zoom.
Yeah, this week for me has been a week of early mornings and late nights, so I have really not gotten any game time. In fact, today was the first time that I touched my Switch, and I'm going to talk about why here in just a few minutes after Mr. Gary Gray who has been silent and maybe just a little bit sleepy for a couple weeks here on the podcast, tells us about, man, holy crap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 games that you've been playing. And some of these, let me just start out by saying this. Some of these are going to surprise you that he's been playing them.
Yeah, so what a crazy week it's been. Like I said, I've been with university. I've been quite busy. I managed to get a lot done the weekend, so I've had some more time to play games this week. So there's actually one missing off this list, which is Super Castlevania 4 for Retro Rewind, but I don't think we need to talk about that here at the minute. I've also been continuing playing through Stick of Truth, South Park Stick of Truth, which is so funny, guys. It really is, but not really anything I could talk about on the show because it's family friendly. But if you're an adult and you like Paper Mario, the battle system's quite Paper Mario-esque. It's paperish in visuals, but it's so hilarious. It's really is. I think it's got to be one of the funniest games in a long time. And speaking of funny, a game that's definitely not funny, Dark Souls Remaster.
Yeah, you picked this up, and not only did you pick it up, but you did an amazing, revealing unboxing video over on YouTube. Hey, so Gary, tell them what's in the box.
Nothing. A game cartridge. That's it.
It's a physical representation of all of your hopes and dreams after playing the first 5 minutes of Dark Souls.
Yeah. Basically, for those of you who don't know what Dark Souls is, you can play it for 3 hours and get through the first 5 minutes of the game because it will continuously kill you. So my thoughts on it so far is I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely an old game, and you can tell it's very clunky in its controls. Even though it's a remaster, I don't think it's as nice as people saying it is graphically, which is something that surprised me because going into it, I heard that the graphics were really good. I mean, I actually played a little bit before on handheld, but seeing it on the TV, I don't think the graphics are quite as good as what people were saying. And as you probably heard, there's some compressed audio as well. That is really apparent, really obvious, especially with the talking parts. But that's the negatives out of the way. This game is incredibly good. It's the pinnacle of sort of teaching you a lesson the hard way. You're sort of allowed to have a bit of a free roam over the map, and it'll let you know if you're going the wrong way just by simply killing you one shot. There is some more frustrations with like checkpoints being a bit further apart than they probably should have been, but there is an element of sort of grinding if you're getting really stuck. What I'd say to anyone who's a new beginner to this series, which I was as well, is just go on the internet and check out some tips and tricks. Don't watch any walkthroughs, but have a look at tips and tricks, because I think it came about that time period, you know, where it's okay to go and look online for some advice. So I'd definitely do that. And so we'll move on from there to a game which let me cool down after my incredible Dark Souls rant and swearing and all sorts that happened in the house while I was playing it. And that's Nickelodeon Kart Racers. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's I mean those are like almost polar opposites, right?
They really are. Oh, and by the way, this is my advice to anyone who plays Dark Souls or any other frustrating game. And this is something I do personally, is if you've got to that point where you're swearing, you're shaking, you've got a ball patch forming and grey coming through your beard, put the controller down, don't throw it for a start, and start cleaning the house, because rage cleaning the house is the greatest thing you could ever do.
Oh yeah, you get a ton done when you rage clean.
The only problem is my work surfaces in the kitchen now are like rubbed thin. But yeah, it's a good thing to do. So Nickelodeon Kart Racers is on the box. It's a kart game full of character and, you know, all this wonderful Nickelodeon content that we've all grew up with, from Rugrats through to SpongeBob and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. and it's a game that should have so much character, but sadly does not.
So a game with characters doesn't have character.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, there's no voice acting in it for the characters.
Because that would
which
cost
is quite
money.
Surprising. Yeah, not even a wahoo or a yippee or anything like that. They are silent. There is nothing. It's a very bare bones kart racer. I will say that I've actually kind of enjoyed playing it though, and it's less Mario Kart before people ask that question, and it is more Sega All Star Transformy Shippy car racing game. It's more like that. You can go on water, or well, it's slime in this game. You can fly, but it's all sort of pre-done sections.
Because of course it's slime, because it's Nickelodeon.
Yeah, and the slime's like almost like a nitro. You drive through the slime and it fills up a meter, which lets you boost. There is actually
That's opposite of what you'd expect slime to do.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It is. It is a pretty good game to play as a family game. It has the things that Mario Kart has, like the auto accelerate and stuff like that. So I have had some fun with it, to be fair. Obviously, it's not a patch of Mario Kart, but I don't think anybody ever expected it to be. I would actually recommend it for if you've got young kids who like Nickelodeon. It might be a good game for them to play. I mean, we've all been guilty of being younger and playing games which we've grew up to realise are horrendous.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's actually not a bad game. It's not at all. It's very bare bones. That's what I will say.
I'm really surprised at the laziness of that. And maybe on the other hand, I'm not. But I would think, that Nickelodeon has this huge backlog of SpongeBob sound bites and, all these shows that they have easy access to. That at least they could get SpongeBob hits somebody with a weapon and he laughs, or, he throws in the SpongeBob laugh or whatever. That just seems really lazy. And I know that like they're like their audience, they're probably saying, well, they don't care. But that's really a crappy way to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's some games which we'll get onto one in a bit that do the same thing with the voice acting. Except I actually think that the voice acting would have enhanced this game a lot as long as the voice clips weren't used too much.
Just over and over ad nauseum, yeah.
And for Nickelodeon, it's quite surprisingly thin on the character roster. You've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You've got Tommy and Reptar from the Rugrats. Again, no Chucky or anything like that, so that's kind of weird. You got Hey Arnold and SpongeBob and Patrick. It's a little bit thin. There's no Fairly Odd Parents or anything like that. So
are there any character unlocks?
I haven't found any so far. I've not put a ton of time into it, but so far I haven't really found some. But we'll be doing we got some Let's Play on the YouTube, by the way, but we'll be doing a review later on once I played it a little bit more. There is Kart, unlockables, so you can upgrade your cars. It's not like Mario Kart where it's like you unlock a part and then you select it. They're kind of more like upgrades. So it's kind of weird how that one works. But yeah, all in all, it's a pretty decent sort of family game as long as the younger people are younger, on the younger side of things. So it's a passive recommendation, I'd say. You got to really have the right audience for it. And from there, it's Halloween. So
actually, before you move on, going back to Dark Souls, the chat asked if you bought the amiibo.
I have brought the amiibo. I haven't unboxed it yet, but I have got it.
Okay, I'm in the same boat. I bought it, didn't unbox it. Don't plan on it.
Did not buy it.
I'll actually unbox it because I've got a Monty Python shelf, and I've been missing King Arthur and the Dark Knight Mixed.
Funny story. I actually had this, on pre-order from when it first went up on GameStop, thinking, I'll get it. I don't really have an interest in the game, but I'll get the amiibo because it's an amiibo. And then I kind of went through that time period where I was like, I don't really care about Amiibo.
Yeah, I'm
And
going
I
through that right
canceled
now.
it.
Yeah.
And I canceled it. And to be honest, like, I don't care about it. Like, it's not one of those that's on my radar right now. If it'd been like the Mega Man Amiibo, now I would be fine. Like, all right, go out there and find it for me and I'll pay you. But I don't care about this one. It's not really all that cool to me.
I actually think it's quite a good figure. I mean, it's in a ridiculous pose, obviously,
Right.
to the praise of Sun Jester, but the figure's quite a decent build. The box is really nice, and the thing I like about some of the other, amiibos that like they might have a line of just one or two, is the bases on them, and I liked the Fire Emblem for the same reason. Once for the same reason I like this is they're like scenes, like they're like it's like a sort of bricky sort of bottom on it. Like the Fire Emblem ones had like a white slabbing effect, whereas like the Smash Bros ones have the Smash Bros logo on, and I prefer that because it makes it more of a scene rather than just like a character standing on a logo. But yeah, I'll probably do the unboxing and stick that on the YouTube channel as well at some point of that. Also, it's pretty useless in terms of what it actually does as well. I mean, I don't know how many people need to praise the Sunbird game, but hey, it is what it is. So, speaking of praising the sun, we're actually praising Halloween. And Marty, I know that you've been playing this a little bit. So we've got Splatterween was the next thing I've been playing, which is Splatoon
Right.
2's Halloween event that they had going on. Not on Halloween, but on the weekend before.
Uh-huh.
So, what did you think of this?
I had a whole lot of fun with it. I got to play it pretty much for like a 4-hour or so clip on Saturday. I played it and I did well enough to advance to the level of Treat Champion, which is the highest level that I've ever been in the Splatfest. And actually leveled up a couple times, overall. I think I went from level 11 to level 13. I love Splatfest. I think it's Splatoon at its best. There's still some gripes that I have about the game, including I had this weird match, man, and I tweeted about this, and you can find this video over on my Twitter feed. I had been in a group of guys, and we were doing really well for ourselves. We had like maybe 4 or 5 wins in a row. And all of us, like, we connect to the game, everything's fine. All of a sudden, 2 of them drop out. And I'm left with 2 people on my team, right? So me and another guy. And so I start trying to do my thing, and this other team just absolutely steamrolls us, right? Because there's 4 of them. But then I'm thinking, well, I can at least fight back and at least, be able to get somewhere. Well, no, what happens is they ink the entire map and they get to like right in front of my spawn point, and they just keep doing this weird thing where they keep turning into squids repeatedly. So it looks like they're bouncing up and down on top of the ink. And then I notice that my teammate is over there with them doing the same thing, and they're not killing him. So I'm like, is he part of their group? Is he sitting in the room with them? Is he, and he just got put on another team, or they at like 2 TVs or something? It just seemed really super suspicious. And like there was nothing I could do. Like I would spawn and they would immediately take me out. And so it would just start the whole spawn countdown again, and I would come up and I would try to shoot one of them or throw a bomb or something, and they were so close that they would immediately kill me and I would spawn, and it was not fun. But I love the inclusion of the Halloween themed gear, and I love that they went all out on it, right? It wasn't just your normal Splatfest. They had like slime hanging off the stage that Pearl and Marina were on. All the little jellies had ghost costumes on. And there were other little, like pumpkins and stuff around. Really cool. The biggest thing I liked about it was 2 nights. And I think every Splatfest from now on should be 2 nights long to allow people to be able to be a part of it, because it starts, for me, Splatfest starts at 11 and ends at 11 p.m. And I like a lot of those are on Saturdays, and I don't have a lot of time to play. This time I just happened to be visiting with my parents. They have good internet. I took advantage of that. But like if it was Friday night and Saturday, I would definitely be able to play more. And I think a lot more people would be too.
Yeah, well, one thing you missed there as well is they actually had some Halloween stuff inside the levels as well, although it is a lot milder than the main plaza. But they did have a few like little posters or a few like buntings around and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it's really hard to spot where you like running around the map trying to ink turf. So I'm actually on the opposite end of the argument to you. I actually think that Splatfest is Splatoon at its worst. And the reason is because you're so limited on what you can do. Like, the other modes are so good. And when they said they were changing the Splatfest rules, I was really hoping that they was going to bring rank matches into the Splatfest as a pro. I like the way that ARMS did things with their Test Punch. Not the Test Punch, sorry. Test Punch was the demo.
Party Crash. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, with the Party Crash. How they basically dump every mode in still, and it picks a mode at random. You pick your opponent at random. I was really hoping that Splatfest would have that in it now that they changed the rules as the pro version, but alas, no, it doesn't. And the timing of it, like you said, is horrific. And it's a shame because, like, I think that Splatoon 2 is one of the best games on the system, but I'm not so keen on normal turf war. I prefer all the other modes on it. But saying that, this is one of the best Splatfests that there has been, and I suppose the same complaint that you probably have as me is that you're stuck in a rotation of only 3 levels. And I planned on only picking it up and playing it for about half an hour. I ended up on it for just over an hour because I wanted to see the Shifty Station level, and it just would not appear. I kept playing the same level over and over again.
And my experience was on the opposite end. I almost exclusively played on Shifty Station.
Oh, and that level was so good this time as well.
Yeah, with all the rails and stuff. God, they need to do really more of that.
I know. And so, yeah, that I mean, like I say, I had a really good time with Splatterween. I think it was one of the best things that Splatoon's ever done. I just really don't like Turf War that much. Don't like the Splatfest that much. But wouldn't you like to see more of that from Splatoon, like a Christmas-themed one maybe, or Thanksgiving?
If they did a Christmas-themed, like Splatmas, or
yeah, you could have Squidmas appear, and
yeah,
it needs to happen. And so from there, I've been playing another game, which we actually had a request for from one of our patrons to be covered, which is Paw Patrol on a Roll. And much like Nickelodeon Kart Racers is lacking in the voice acting department, except with Paw Patrol, it really does not make that much of a difference at all. It is the perfect entry point for a 4-year-old to play games. A lot of the time that it's been loaded up on my Switch has been my 4-year-old daughter playing it. She absolutely loves this game. And so basically, it's a very, very light platformer. There's no risk. There's no death. There's none of that. And basically, you play as the pups in turn. So you'll play as the one character first, and then halfway through the level, you might switch to another character. And the only controls really are left, right, and jump. Except you'll come across some hazards every once in a while, or there'll be something that needs rescuing, and it'll prompt you with 3 icons on the screen, and it will say, the narration will actually say, you know, to get across this gap you need to do this, so press the X button. Even though you've got the 3 options there, it actually shows you which ones they are and tells you which one they are. And I've noticed that my daughter started actually looking at the controller to see what buttons it is that they're talking about and what to press. And so I think it's a really good way of kids entering into gaming, to be honest. And I'm actually really happy that we got this game. She's loving it. She asks to go on it quite a lot now. They've done a good job of recreating the sort of Paw Patrol sort of universe. They've recreated some of the the iconic scenes in it. The characters all look pretty good. the levels are sort of as you'd expect them to be, really, from a kids' game. They're sort of all very samey, very simple in construction, and a lot of the same things appear. Like there's a barn in the first couple of levels, and this barn appears on the level probably 5 or 6 times. But yeah, it's just a perfect entry point for the younger kids. And I know some people complain about the kids' games still being priced high. This one's £35 in the UK, which I think is a reduced price. It's the same sort of price as Captain Toad. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. So far, I think it's been pretty good.
I think that, for games like this, and I'm glad, I want to say that for this Nickelodeon Kart, Gary, I'm glad that you took time to review these, because we do get games, a lot, like we've got Stick of Truth that was given to us. We got the Fractured Butthole. We got, and we've had games like Enter the Gungeon and other games that end up being, well, let's just call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. They're violent.
Yeah.
Right. And so for us to have this kind of offering where we can kind of talk to parents and say, hey, these 2 games are out, right? Your kid likes Paw Patrol, then this would definitely be something that you're interested in looking at. Maybe you don't want to look at Nickelodeon Kart after Gary's not so glowing recommendation of it. I mean, you said it was fun, but a little bare bones. On the kart racing side, it's really hard to compete with Mario Kart.
It is. I mean, that's the problem with the game, really. It's not that it's a bad game. It's just that the higher tier that it's fighting is so high that there's just no chance that it could ever get anywhere near. But it is like I say, Nickelodeon Kart Races is obviously aimed at kids, right? So as a kids game, it's good. It's okay. It's fine. Kids will have a great time with it, and I recommend them both, really. Just as long as you know what your kid likes and they'll have fun with them.
Yeah. Well, the point that I was going to make is that I think sometimes I'm not saying don't be critical about these games, but realize that they're games for kids and not games for us, right? And cut them a break and realize, parents, I love having all these games that I can play, right? But sometimes maybe you need to defer your purchase and buy a game for your kids. And then you need to play it with them, right? You need to help them with it.
Yeah. I mean, Paw Patrol has its sections as well where I have had to help my daughter out. There is a bit of a weird inclusion of a double jump, which I think is a bit hard for kids to get. Which is strange because she struggles with a double jump on Paw Patrol, but she's okay to do the drop dash on Sonic, which is just beyond me. So there is sections where I do, as a parent, you will have to step in and help out. Yeah. But it's really hard to review kids' games. It's a lot harder than you think, and it's because as gamers, 30 plus, we've seen it all, and it's hard to see things through kids' eyes. So the best thing you can do is give them the controller and see what happens. I think my daughter was a little bit too young for Nickelodeon Kart Races, so I couldn't give a complete fair point of view on, say, an 8-year-old playing it, 10-year-old playing it. She did enjoy it, but she really loved Paw Patrol.
Yeah, and I think it's important that the Switch as a whole, when we think about the whole ecosystem of the Switch, right, if that's what you want to call it, has games that are for kids that aren't shovelware indies, like those crazy math games and whatever that came out on the eShop not long ago that were like $10 a piece, and also not Lego.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you can crap on this if you want to, but I'm glad that we reviewed those. You need to go over to the YouTube channel and check out Gary's videos of these. It's well worth your time if you're a parent of a young child who likes Paw Patrol or likes these Nickelodeon properties. I keep wanting to say Nintendo. These Nickelodeon properties, even though I think they missed a huge opportunity, and I don't know how far into development they were, but they missed a huge opportunity here by not including the new models of the Ninja Turtles. And going
it's
with the old show, right?
So another game which I reviewed a while back before I actually joined the show properly was Ben 10, and that's the same as well. You know, as a gamer who's 30 plus, you look at it and think, well, this is oversimplified. But then when you think of the target audience that's playing it, Ben 10 was a really good game, especially for the age group that it was aimed at. And you know, we've seen a lot of games now for kids coming out on the Switch. You've got Pirates of the Caribbean, which is the Adventure Time game. We've got OKKO and Steven Universe. They've got games out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some games which I'm guessing are kids' games as well, but coming out, like Asterix. Asterix has got a new game coming out.
I really don't, and see, that's not coming out over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
that never, like, that character never really caught on over here.
Well,
I remember playing a Sega Genesis game.
We're
Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah, Asterix and Obelix XXL2 comes out November 29th.
Oh, it does come out over here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just hadn't heard anything about it. It's not getting it's not getting a whole lot of publicity over here.
No, it hasn't here either. I actually found it just browsing aimlessly in the catalog. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if you guys agree, but I think this year for our Game of the Year, I might actually do a Kids Game of the Year as well.
Really?
Not a bad idea.
I think so.
I think that's a great idea. I think that for our audience and I think for our demographic, that would be an excellent thing. Jesse, write that down. Let's make sure we do that.
Jesse,
I mean, just saying, like, put it in the notes so we remember, because I'll forget.
Yeah, I'm going to call out to the community right now and anyone in chat. If you've got any recommended kids games, drop them in the comments or send them our way, and we'll be sure to check them out as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's definitely something that's more needed in maybe not just in Nintendo circles, but in just in video gaming reviews and podcasts in general. We don't see a lot of the kids games getting the actual let's talk about that treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Gary, thanks for sharing all those games, man. I hate that I've not been able to play anything this week and go along with that. But you know what I have been able to do this week? I have been able to ask on Twitter to our listeners and our audience and our fans for their questions. And so let's move right into some community time. That sound means it's time for community time. And that's where we turn the spotlight over to you guys and let you ask questions and dictate some of the topics on the show. This week, we are going to do Community Spotlight Lightning Round. And what that means is that we got in a ton of questions. We want to be sure that we get them all and we don't get backed up on those. And so, guys, we're going to put ourselves on a clock here. And by a clock, I mean we're going to try to go through all of these questions in about 5 minutes. All right? So there you go. The clock is set. And so here we go. From Twitter, Mecha wishes that he was at Pony Cider Fest at Mecha Dragon 101. Asks us, why you guys stream so late here in the East? Jesse, why do we stream so late?
The original time that we chose to record was when Zach and Justin were both Canadians. Well, one of them still is.
No, one of them's a Euro boy.
Yeah, he's a Euro boy. They were both in Mountain Time, and their kids were younger. The show started 4 years ago, so they wanted to do the show after the kids went to bed. So
yeah,
from their time zone, it was 9 o'clock, which means in my time zone and Marty's time zone is 10 o'clock, which means, sorry, your time zone's 11. But now, haha, Justin is 4 a.m.
Yeah, and Gary is 4 a.m.
But it's all Justin because he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, I mean, if we go any earlier than we are right now, we cut the Euro boys out. And I don't think anybody wants to cut out any of the Euro boys. Or I think maybe the Euro boy has cut out.
Yeah, I think I did for a second there.
No, yeah. So there you go. That's why we understandably it's midnight right now as we're recording this. It's 12:10 a.m. I love doing this podcast. I love being on here. That's why I'm on here. That's why I'm up this late. Okay, I wouldn't be up this late just to hang out. I'm too old for that now.
Oh, I actually probably, depending on the game I'm playing, I probably still would be.
Yeah, sometimes I will, but after a week like this, I'm ready to go to bed.
Oh,
but,
yeah, after this week of work, no.
Yeah, it's not like a conscious choice to say, oh, let's just record late so it'll be late for everybody. It's what time works for everyone, right? Yeah, let's move on. Okay, Andy Johnson at Scruffy Wookie asks us this. Aside from Nintendo, what is the primary console of choice for you and why? Andy, for me, that's easy. It's PlayStation. PlayStation 4, actually, because it's the only other one we have in the house. We skipped the Xbox, even though the Xbox 360 was my favorite console of that generation. We skipped Xbox this go round because of all of the blunders early on with the One, and I don't have a need for one because we have a PS4.
You have a need for many?
I don't have a need. No, I have a need for speed, but I don't have a need for many. Jesse, what about you? Your aside from Nintendo, your primary console of choice?
I'd probably have to also say PlayStation 4. I have never owned a Microsoft console, and that is an active choice. I give them enough money with all of the Windows operating systems and Office products I've bought over the years. I didn't want to give them... And that when 360 was at its peak, the only games that were popular were shooters or sports, and you know how much I love those.
Oh yeah, you love them,
right? So yeah, I've always been a 2-console household ever since GameCube, PS2 era. I've just always bought every PlayStation and every Nintendo that's come out. When they start talking PS5, I probably will hold off because I literally played the PS4 for one game this year, and that was for Spider-Man. And I think the last game I played in the PS4 was Final Fantasy 12.
I was going to say you'll hold off on the PS5 until they announce a Dragon Quest or Persona game for it.
Hell yeah. But my son does play the hell out of the PS4. He plays. Yeah, he still plays Fortnite. That was a
very strong reaction from Uncle Jesse. That was a very strong reaction.
Yeah, well, those are two of my 4 favorite franchises. So yeah,
there you go. There you go. So, Gary, what about you? Primary console choice besides Nintendo?
Oh, it would be Sega, but Sega's out of the race.
Right.
I think for me, I think if Nintendo went away all of a sudden, I'd probably just go into retro gaming, and that would, if Nintendo was still excluded, I'd probably go to sort of Sega stuff again. But if I had to choose out the modern consoles, I'm going to say it's going to be Xbox. Mainly because even though people said bad things about it, I really enjoyed Sea of Thieves. Yeah, and there's a few other games on there that I've wanted to play, Cuphead included. So I think
Cuphead is amazing.
I think
I'm still holding out hope that comes to the Switch someday. It has come to Mac recently, so they are porting it to other areas. With Nintendo and Microsoft's relationship, you never know.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say at this point, I would trade Banjo-Kazooie being in Smash for Cuphead being on the Switch.
Ditto.
I would do. Let's move on to the next one. Joshua Crow at PHX Crow on Twitter asks us this. What scary Switch games do you recommend for us to play this All Hallows Eve? Gary, scary game recommendation.
Scary game recommendation. See, Splatterwing was perfect, but it's too late for that now. Yep. So I'm going to say Minecraft with a Halloween pack is pretty good. I enjoy that.
My son loves that Halloween pack, and I love playing it with him.
Yeah, that's really cool.
If you've ever been in the Halloween level, it has a massive roller coaster in it. That's
Yeah, it's
really cool to just ride around on and mess around. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a bit of a weird choice because most people will say something scary like Resident Evil or something, but that'd be my pick.
Jesse, what about you? Scary Switch game.
What I'm thinking of isn't as much scary as creepy, but Night in the Woods.
Oh yeah, it's super creepy. Super boring too, but that's a whole nother thing. I never finished it because I just cannot make myself slog through it.
Yeah, the story was enough to keep me going, but yeah, a lot of the gameplay was sloggy, but the story kept me going.
Wasn't that set around Halloween as well at one point in there?
So,
or am I mistaken?
That was several time frames, but it might have been.
Yeah.
I am going to the game I'm going to recommend is scary for completely different reasons. It is Vroom in the Night Sky or Nintendo Switch about a magical girl, a magical witch who rides a motorcycle.
You talked about this last
night.
week.
I am going to I'm going to read the description of this game just because it makes me laugh. Vroom in the Night Sky is a magical bike action game. The features of this game. Hang on, I don't know if I can finish this. Oh my gosh. The features of this game are fantastic feeling, speedy feeling, and realistic feeling using HD vibration.
Yeah, realistic.
There are various night skies in this world, and it is the work of the magical girls to collect stardusts. You become a magical girl, Luna, in quotation marks, and ride a magical bike to fly around the night sky and collect stardusts. The scary part about this game is it's still $10 on the Switch. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I actually have a really good recommendation for a Halloween game.
Can I tell you what I thought you were going with that phrase? I thought you were going to say, I actually have to confess I own this game.
Oh, no, I do not. No. But I have got an amazing recommendation for a Halloween game.
Okay.
This is actually higher than Minecraft. And it's actually set in Halloween as well, which is Flipping Death.
Yeah.
I still haven't played that. I need to do that.
Yeah, it's a really good game, and it's short, so you could probably complete it on Halloween night if you start it early enough.
You know, that would be a really cool thing. You know, if you're hunkered down at home, you're getting the trick or treaters, maybe you're eating some candy of your own, and you just settle down and finish Flipping Death. Very solid recommendation from our friend.
It's a really good game as well, so I suggest anybody out there.
Whatever they are now. But guys, really don't buy Vroom in the Night Sky. It's like one of those things. It's like a weeping angel in Doctor Who. If you look at it, it'll come after you. If you buy this, they'll make more games. Don't do that. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on to the next question here. Just a comment. We ask, what do you want us to talk about? And Mighty_Magnus76 says anything but Starlink. So yes, we know how he feels about that game. But just because we love you, we're going to talk about Starlink a little bit more because Nicholas Metzger writes in and asks, what would you guys think about the next Star Fox game being the Lilat system added into Starlink as a whole new galaxy with multiple planets, which takes Fox back home to Corneria? Yes, yes, yes. Give me that DLC. I will buy it.
Okay, so Starlink, you guys know, is probably my most hyped game for the year, and it still is. It's going to be a Christmas game for me, so I won't be playing it till Christmas. So please no spoilers. But
I will not spoil it, other than to say that you'll. I mean, when you finally open it up and play it, you're going to enjoy it.
I know I'm going to enjoy it, and to be honest, I was right. Like, a lot of people were questioning when I said it was good, and I played it, and now the reviews are out and people have played it. They're all pretty much saying it's good, and I was excited for it before Star Fox was announced, and now that Star Fox is in it, Nintendo, please just give Ubi the Star Fox license. Let them do it.
Yes.
Let them carry on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think them like being able to fly out of the Great Fox in space and go down planet side, and there you can make the choice to hover over the world or turn into the Landmaster tank or go die. Yeah, come on.
Look, okay, so we're gonna I'm going to take a second to talk about Star Fox Zero, right? And it's not going to be, oh, the controls are bad. It's not going to be, why did they do the split screen thing? The space battles in that were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Starlink could actually take something from that as well, which is a lock-on system. But Star Fox Zero also had the potential to be way better than it was. I mean, they had Platinum as a developer, and I always thought that they were going to make the best Star Fox game. But I think they were limited in resources, time. They had Miyamoto shooting commands at them about motion controls and all that sort of noise. So I think Ubisoft got left to it. They made a fantastic game, and Fox went into their game, not the other way around. And I think that it's shown that Star Fox can be more than an on-rail shooter. And in fact, it doesn't need the on-rail sections. And I really hope that if the next Star Fox gets made, that it takes some of this formula and adds maybe 1 or 2 on-rail sections in for action sequences. But I just really want a free roaming Star Fox game.
You know, what you said there is, I think, is the most important thing. This game has proven that Star Fox can be more than an on-rail shooter. And I think that's what they begin with, right?
Yeah.
That's what they begin with, and they just decide, hey, we're going to do this, and let Ubi have it. Come on,
yeah. I mean,
let Ubi have it, and let them try their hand at it, because obviously Platinum didn't do anything with it.
I mean, the trouble with Star Fox is it's a reboot of a reboot of a reboot that's going to be rebooted. It doesn't need that. It just needs
until the next reboot.
It just needs. It needs to just evolve. It needs the Breath of the Wild treatment. It needs the, it just needs the new beginning. So I think, even if Starlink 2 doesn't have Star Fox in, I think there needs to be another Starlink as well. I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think that Ubisoft have got a winner on their hands. That, I mean, obviously he's done well on Switch, but if they build that partnership into a Star Fox Starlink thing, that's fine by me. I'd rather see Star Fox in Starlink.
The only thing I'm worried about with it, though, right now, Gary, is that my local Walmart has no spaces for Starlink figures.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, as far as I know, they're not even carrying them. They have the starter pack, and it's behind glass, with the rest of the games, but there's nothing to be found as far as ships, pilots, weapons, anything like that. Now, GameStop right across the parking lot has it, but if a lot of people are doing Black Friday shopping and things like that, and they throw Starlink in the cart and a Switch, well, are they going to, if it's not at Walmart, and I don't know what the situation is at every Walmart, maybe you have a better electronics section than we do, but if it's not there, parents aren't going to even know those things exist, right? So they're not going to know to pair it up.
Complete opposite over here. You can't see a single amiibo on a shelf, but Starlink is about.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Let's move on to the next question. Rigo at dreaded_Diablo asks us this. What new feature do you want to see in Luigi's Mansion 3? This is an excellent question. What new feature do you want to see in Luigi's Mansion 3? I want, and maybe this is not a feature, but maybe this is just part of the game or whatever. I want more EGAD. I think he is one of the most criminally underused Super Mario Universe characters. I want to know some of his backstory. I want to know maybe there could be some time travel part of this, because if you I've just played through Luigi's Mansion, on the 3DS, and he mentions how at certain times he'll talk about, oh, Luigi, the way you busted those ghosts or whatever, it reminds me of me when I was younger. Right? So future huge twist, maybe EGAD is Luigi. I'm down for that.
Yeah, that's why he sends Luigi out, because he's actually still terrified. He's like, what's the younger me? He can go.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I would love to get some more EGAD. What about you guys? New feature, Luigi's Mansion 3.
I've actually never played the games. I played a demo of the second one when I was at E3, and didn't really care for it. So I have no answer. Sorry.
I want it to be endorsed by Dyson. I want Luigi to go in and go, you can use
he gets different vacuums. He gets a Dyson ball vacuum.
Thanks to its patented cylinders.
Never
Luigi can now
lose
suck up
something.
5 times the ghost with ease and lower battery.
I love it. I
So
love it.
I want him to lose the poltergeist and
So
for
he
him to
can-
have to use a generic vacuum that's on
He
a
can
lead
jump
still.
on the ball and roll with it.
Yes. Vacuum vehicle. There you go.
Yeah, or Luigi's Mansion 4, or Luigi Mansion 3 or 4, the Dustbuster Chronicles.
There's actually one new feature that's been shown off so far,
Really?
and that is it kind of made its debut in the Smash trailer, and that is Luigi has a plunger gun now.
Oh yeah,
Saw
yeah,
that
yeah.
in the early footage of Luigi's Mansion 3 that he has.
And it
Of course, he
didn't
has a
fare
vacuum.
very
He has a
well.
plunger gun. Yeah, it didn't work very much, but I have a feeling it'll work better against ghosts than the Grim Reaper.
I would actually, as a serious note, for a feature, I'd actually like to see some sort of upgrade system. I think I'd like it to be one of those games where you could go into certain areas, but you might not be powerful enough. So I'd kind of like to see more of a free roaming sort of Luigi Mansion, because the last one was really linear. It was a fantastic game. I actually liked it more than the first one.
So,
But I'd actually like to see them knock down those barriers a little bit, let Luigi just go off a little bit more. Not saying that it
was
needs
limited
to be
more by the 3DS hardware.
Yeah,
why it
that's
was
what I mean.
more linear.
so
it
you
was
want it
absolutely
more
perfect.
Vania-like?
Well,
Yeah.
more like the first one. The first one had just one mansion where everything was together,
And connected?
right? Yeah, everything was connected. So
But
I think
then again, if I had it my way, I think it might overcomplicate the game a little bit. I think the beauty of Luigi Mansion is that it's fairly simple.
yeah.
So,
It's funny that you mentioned Metroidvania though, in that because John Blanco at Zablanc writes in this. What's your favorite Metroid?
I don't know what he's asking. That was not a segue intentional. That was random.
No, that's fine. It's a perfect
I'm just-
segue. He asks us, "What's your favorite Metroidvania style game?"
Oy, I never finished it, but I liked Guacamelee.
Oh, Guacamelee is fantastic, and it's out on the Switch now. So
I think it was like near the one of the end bosses, like this tiger thing. I don't remember exactly, but I never got past that one.
I played that and finished it on the Wii U. It's fantastic. Love Guacamelee.
I played it on the Wii U, but I never finished it.
I'm really excited that 2 is coming to the Switch. I'm hyped for that. What about you, Gary? Favorite Metroidvania game?
what's a Metroidvania? Is that
come
one of those
on.
games that you can walk left? So for me,
Why can't Metroid crawl?
my favorite Metroidvania games are Metroid games.
You're kind of stealing my answer here.
Yeah, are you gonna say Castlevania? Because me,
No, because I'm big shocker here. And we're probably going to get hate mail about this, but I don't care. I think that Symphony of the Night ruined Castlevania. Because after that, there were no more like linear point A to point B Castlevanias like, 1, 3, and 4. And I still think 4 is the best the series has ever been. I think that it did everything it did extremely well. Symphony of the Night just never grabbed me, and I've tried the others past Mirror of Ruin and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Like Symphony of the Night, I was tracking with it until they flipped the castle upside down, and they're like, oh yeah, go through the whole thing again. And it was a little too much ghosts and goblins for me. And I've never recovered from it. So my favorite Metroidvania game is Metroid Fusion, which is the best Metroid game ever made.
I'm gonna throw out another game out there which will surprise people. If you guys still have a 3DS that's alive well and working properly, get yourself Mario Maker if you like Metroidvanias. And the reason I say that is because at this current moment in time, Mario Maker is at its best. Because all that's left on there now is the good levels, because all the old ones have been deleted by Nintendo. Because they get if they don't keep getting played, they eventually drop off. So only the good level designers are left, and the best level designers make these incredible Metroidvania style Mario levels. And Mario Maker at the minute is amazing. And the reason I say to recommend it on a 3DS is you'll hear all bad things about it. It does have online, and it just basically draws all the best of the Wii U's levels. So, in terms of an actual game, it's an unlimited game Mario that has amazing Metroidvania levels. And it might sound crazy, but that is the honest truth. Mario Maker is at its finest at the minute, and I think that it's a good time to play it if you like Metroidvania levels.
That has made me want to jump back into Mario Maker. I downloaded it on my 3DS and barely touched it.
Yeah, it's
but like that I'm not going to play it on my Wii U, but I'd want it portable.
It's funny.
So yeah, why not?
I never talk about it when we say what we've been playing, because it literally is the game where, like, if I go to bed and I can't sleep, I'll have a couple of levels and then try again.
So you're constantly playing it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Awesome. So I hope that answered your question there, John. Mikey Burgett asked us this. What is the go-to Nintendo Halloween costume? And what is the forgotten Nintendo character costume that you would want to go as? So in other words, what do you think the most popular Nintendo costume is, and what is one forgotten character that you would like to go as?
Mine's Mario in his boxer shorts. In his swimwear.
Is it Mario nipples hanging out, right?
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Okay.
I think the go-to one, I think the obvious one is everybody dresses as Link.
Link or Mario? It's got to be.
Tingle? Yeah.
So last year, I got to throw this out. We did this big Halloween event at our church, and we have people come through and get candy and hot dogs and all kinds of stuff. And last year, a family came dressed up as Mario characters, and the wife was Princess Peach, the husband was Mario. They had, and the dad had a baby carrier strapped to his front that was a pipe, and the baby inside was dressed as Toad.
Oh, that's amazing.
I have a picture of it somewhere. I will tweet about it, because I was dressed up as Mario with Cappy last year. And because it was just, I mean, that cap had just come out at GameStop. Like, I think Geek had put it out or Nintendo had put it out. And I was like, obvious costume, right? It's easy. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find that, because it was, man, that costume set was amazing. Like, I freaked out when I saw them. I was like, you guys are literally the best costumes here. But yeah, like, we saw a lot of Marios last year, actually, which I thought was cool because Mario was popular again. I'm going to go back to my Luigi's Mansion answer here. I'd be Egad. I have much love for Egad. I'm sorry.
So, I went out for a Halloween outing a good long time ago now. I think I was about 19. And we all went to a nightclub dressed as Tetris blocks.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, I was the L block, and there was a line and a square and one of those funny shaped ones, which is hilarious because watching that guy try to get through a doorway was just amazing. It was literally like Tetris.
That's great.
That's great. Yeah,
it was really cool.
I gotta have a cheating answer for the latter part of the question, because the game launched 30 minutes ago. How about Deku from My Hero One's Justice? It's on the Nintendo system. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope.
My Hero Academia fighting game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So what was the second half of the question, sorry? Which...
What's off the... Kind of like... What character would we... How did he word it? What character would we want to be that isn't common?
Oh, Doshin the Giant. There you go. Oh, just Doshin the Giant.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, my brain's dead at this hour, so I'm just going to stick with Deku.
I think Marty's mic's on mute.
Yeah, I muted myself and then tried to talk. Isn't that fun? Because I had to cough. Let's hit a couple final questions here. This is kind of growing a little bit long in the tooth, but Zombie Duck Rob actually tweeted us 10 minutes ago and asked this: is there anything gaming wise that's good to do as a family for Halloween? Party games and Nintendo games is his question. And I would answer that. My answer would be, I think that Family Time Super Mario Party on Halloween, fueled by candy, would be awesome. As would Just Dance, fueled by candy. And I think some of those games actually have like Halloween songs and different things. Like I know we picked up, I think it was 2017, a few years ago, when it first came out for the Switch. And there's one where it's got like somebody dressed up as Frankenstein and a ghost, and it talks about, there's a song about something about Wake the Dead or something. It was pretty cool. My kids enjoy that song. So you can find them there. And I think there's that, like the Just Dance Ultimate or whatever now, where you can like go in and basically play any song.
It's like a subscription.
Yeah, that you can, and I think you get a free month when you buy the game.
Just Dance Flicks.
Yeah, kind of. And Just Dance 2019 just came out this week, so there's that. We had a couple of email questions that came to us from Christopher Logel, and we'll finish with these. He said this: "Hey dads, I finished Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on my 3DS this weekend. I've never really tried to play the game to the end, even though I owned it on the Nintendo 64. What are your proudest game accomplishments?"
Oh,
wow. That's a tough one.
I've got one. I 100%ed Final Fantasy VII. I did everything in that game.
Wow.
And
including having the clock at 99999.
And it was a bit of a grind. I mean, it's probably nothing compared to games now.
Bit of a grind.
But yeah, and that's the story about how I don't have any friends anymore.
Mine is the one I'm thinking of is more retro. I'm thinking going back to Atari 2600. The Pitfall 2. There is a maximum score you can achieve if you collect every treasure, never die, never fall off a ledge. I hit it once, and I've tried to duplicate that feat before. I came close but failed. But I think I actually was doing a live stream of it sometime last year or 2 years ago, and I messed up in the final climb. But yeah, I remember when I did that when I was a kid, I was happy.
I think for me, it would be I beat there's a game that came out on the Switch recently that I think everybody should play. It's called Iconoclasts. Justin was actually the one who kind of put me onto this game, and I downloaded it on a Friday night and beat it the next afternoon. Like, I was pretty proud of that. Like, I sat down and pretty much just buzzsawed through it. But I will, as I say, probably one of the proudest ones, or one of the ones I laugh about the most, is when Metroid Zero Mission came out for Game Boy Advance. I finished it in one playthrough.
Wow!
Like, I sat down, powered on the game, played it, finished it.
So
and then said, "Was that it?" It took me about 3 hours.
Even though I said Final Fantasy VII, which is going to come out on Nintendo system, I think it's only fair that I say Nintendo one. Didn't think that through before I said Final Fantasy VII. So there's two actually.
Well, mine wasn't Nintendo either.
I completed both Zelda 2 and Mario Lost Levels. I think that both of those are an achievement in themselves.
I beat the Lost Levels once back in the day on the All Stars compilation. Never beaten Zelda 2 without a Game Genie.
I've beaten Zelda 2.
Wow.
All right, so if you want a Nintendo theme one, I did finish Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2.
Oh man, God! Legend of Zelda 2, Ninja Gaiden, and Ninja Gaiden 2. Man, look, I bow to your greatness, sir.
No way I can do those again, but I did at one point.
Wow.
On the NES, so no save states. No,
I'm not worthy.
No cheats.
Not worthy.
I think he's lying to us, Marty. For him to prove that he needs to live stream him completing Battletoads now.
False.
There's another gaming accomplishment. I made it through the speeder bike level in Battletoads regularly without losing a life.
Yeah, once you memorize where everything is, it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's man, is it a exercise in dexterity?
In all fairness, though, I think the Mega Man games are really hard as well.
Oh, I can play Mega Man with my eyes closed now. I've
Yeah,
memorized them pretty
it's
much.
the block disappearing parts that get me.
That's just when you use Rush Jet and cheat. Uh,
Yeah.
Chris also asked us this, and Jesse, I'm going to throw this question to you, and then we're going to round out the show here. If your Pokemon in Pokemon Go have evolved as much as you can, what do you do with the extra candy?
There isn't much you can do with it other than collect it. I think I have like 3,000 Pidgey candies. Other than, you can evolve more. Evolve more Pidgeys. You level up more with Pidgeys. So, especially if the Pokemon may have a shiny variant, or the Pikachu will often have a special event variant. There's one now that'll have a witch's hat on, which isn't new. They had it last year. But, whenever they do that, you can now evolve it into a Raichu with the witch's hat. And if a Pichu hatches from an egg, the Pichu will have the hat on. So,
Yeah.
So this summer, when Pikachu had kind of like a summer beach hat, I ended up having a Pichu hatch with it. So I still have that one unevolved, and it probably will never evolve that one.
All right. That's what you can do with candy. In other words, not much.
Yeah.
Guys, we want to...
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So for example, I have 3 Blastoise, so I've leveled up 3 of them. One of them is normal. That was like my first Squirtle that I caught. Then the second one was the highest stat that I had from the Squirtle event, and then the other was the highest. It was a shiny Squirtle with glasses that I evolved into a Blastoise shiny with glasses. So it's just all you can do is just evolve more and level them up. But leveling them up costs Stardust, and those get expensive.
Right. Guys, before we round out the show here and close up, I want to take just a minute to talk about Extra Life. Extra Life is coming up very, very soon. The official dates for Extra Life this year are November 3rd and 4th. And we have a team that you can go and join right now by going over to Extra Life, extra-life.org, and searching for Nintendo Dads. Right now, we have, as a team, a collected $3,000 goal, and we have gotten our first pledges in and are on our way to making sure that those happen. However, we need your help. If you're a listener of the show, if you're a patron of the show, and you are not doing Extra Life somewhere else or haven't already pledged, we would love to have your pledge as well. We're playing for a variety of Children's Miracle Network hospitals, including Le Bonheur Children's Hospital in Memphis, which is a hospital that I'm playing for, where my daughter actually spent a week when she was 2 months old. So it's pretty near and dear to my heart. We have also published our official streaming schedule, and by our official streaming schedule, I mean me, who will be taking over the Nintendo Dads channel over on YouTube on November 8th over until November 9th. You can find that on our Twitter and Facebook accounts, also on Instagram. But just know that from 6 p.m. on November 8th until 6 p.m. on November 9th, we will be streaming constantly unless we are doing the show. We are actually going to take a break for the show and do this. But I want to throw out a couple of unique things that I think are or things that we need to talk about that are going on here. At 4:30 in the morning on November 9th, I'm going to be taking on Jody Masson, who is Justin Masson's wife, in Dr. Mario over the NES app on the Switch. She has thrown down the gauntlet.
I want to watch
She thinks that she can beat me at Dr. Mario, which means she probably can. Justin, I asked him last week after the show was off the air, I said, how bad is this going to be? And he said, I won't even play with her anymore. So I'm probably going to get my rear end handed to me, and that's fine. I'm training right now. I'm going to wear a lab coat when I do this. I'm going to take some pills.
So,
I'm not going to take pills. Why did I say that?
You handicap her by you hosting it and making her have the lag.
Okay. That's a good strategy. I'm doing that. Thank you. Also, going on during this time at 8 p.m. on November 8th, that night, we're going to be doing Super Mario Party Family Time, which is going to be me and my family playing Super Mario Party. If you have seen our videos on YouTube where my son has joined in with unboxings, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be really good. And my daughter is an extremely sore loser as well, so that's going to be really fun. We're gonna jump on around noon on the 9th for Minecraft and some free play, some things there, and we're gonna round out the day with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online at 4 p.m. On November 9th, and we want our community to come and join in with that. But let me mention this. Mr. Justin Masson, who is a wonderful human being, has laid down the challenge. A challenge has been laid down at his feet, and he's not here, so I'm calling this official. If I cross the $600 barrier, he is going to film himself dancing to 3 songs in Just Dance.
Oh,
last year we had the $300 shirt off.
I was going to say, with or without shirt.
You can convince him to do it shirtless, but I bet that dollar amount's going to go higher. But for $600, which is halfway there for me, Justin will do the 3-song set in Just Dance, and that has been suggested by John Blanco, and Justin has said yes, indeed, I will do it. I'm excited about reaching this goal. Guys, help us get a good start and help us get toward that goal before we even start. Last year, my goal was $250. We ended up raising $750 but we've also got other people on the team this year as well. And so you can go over there. You can join the team and you can add your dollar amount to our total, or you can just come along with us and enjoy the streaming fun as well. And like I said, go check our social media and you'll see that streaming schedule. And if you've got a suggestion for a game you'd like to see me play and talk about during those free play slots, which are going to be at 6 p.m., 4 a.m., and 2 p.m. on November 8th and 9th, I would love for you to suggest those. No, I'm not playing Dark Souls.
Zelda 2.
What?
Zelda 2. Everyone, Zelda 2. Spam Marty.
Zelda 2. Look, I will hook up the NES Classic.
I'll easily play the front half of Zelda 2. It's when it gets the back half that gets crazy.
That's fine. Like I said, make your suggestions. I'm not sure that they'll get played, but you can make your suggestions. We'll see what happens. Also, everyone who donates, every single person, whether you donate $5, $10, $100, it doesn't matter. If you donate, you're going to be entered into drawings for cool Nintendo Dads swag, including our brand new Voltendo Dads t-shirt that's available over on Redbubble, mugs, stickers, all kinds of things like that. But we're also going to be giving away eShop cards and other Nintendo swag as well. So don't sleep on Extra Life. Again, it's not about us streaming, and it's not about how cool we are for doing this. It's about kids who need treatment and who need distraction while they're in the hospital and just, basically better conditions while they're there. That's why we're doing Extra Life, is we love kids, and we being fathers ourselves and that being close to our hearts, support Extra Life. You're not, don't look at it as supporting us. Look at it as supporting those kids. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So you can find that over at extra-life.org. Just search for Nintendo Dads or search my name, search Marty Estes, and you can go and be a part of all that. Guys, that is episode 202. We want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, David White, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off, for being a huge part of the show. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us. Even for as little as $1 a month, you'll get into our Discord community, which has been described by a lot of people as their favorite online community in the world. We want to keep it that way. We would love to add you as well. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all at Nintendo Dads. You can call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. And if you want to get one of those shirts that I just mentioned, the Voltendo shirt or a phone case or a mug or something like that, you can go over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dad Store, all lowercase, and you can find a huge assortment of Nintendo Dad's merch. And we thank you if you go over and do that. Tweet us a picture when those shirts come in. Send us a picture on Facebook Messenger. Show us yourself rocking that Nintendo Dad's merch, and we will shoot that out through our social media channels as well. Big thanks to OC Remix for music used throughout the show. And as always, thanks to Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for doing all of our artwork for us. Guys, for me, for Gary, for Jesse, the missing Justin, and missing Zach, this has been episode 202 of the Nintendo Dads. Bye-bye.
See ya. Jesse, can we get another hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Jesse's like Stone Cold Steve Austin all of a sudden. Way to play this Persona game, give me a heck yeah.
Because Stone Cold said so.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet, Wobble Buff.